This is Bad Movies We Love, part of the Shice Podcast Network.
Hello, Bad Movie Lovers. I'm your host, Nick Scheist, and I'm a little bit under the weather, as you can hear. But I'm getting better, getting that Godzilla flu out of my system. But thank you for being here and for joining me for another episode of Bad Movies We Love.
If you're listening to this, you are the Resistance.
You heard the man. And you can support the Resistance by going to coffee.com/badmovieswelove. That's ko-fi.com/badmovieswelove. While you're there, you can make a one-time donation to the show, or you can become a contributing member where you're eligible to win cool prizes, but I'm not going to tell you what that surprise is just yet because I don't know until the new month rolls around. But Ben from Cinema Shit Show, who's been a supporter of the show from the beginning, he's got a gift headed his way. He doesn't know what it is. I didn't spoil it, but it is currently out for delivery, so Ben, if you end up listening to this today, check your mail. And you can also support the show by subscribing, liking the show, and rating it on your podcast platform of choice. That actually goes a really long way in helping an independent podcast such as this one. And on a personal note, I'm getting married this weekend. So this show is going to be not the last show of the year, but it's going to be the last show for a couple of weeks as I've got the wedding this weekend and then going on honeymoon. I'm going to come back with one bonus Christmas episode to close out 2023. So thank you to everybody who has taken the time to listen to this show so far. But speaking of Christmas episodes, this is an early Christmas present because Vanya Garraway from Revue Cinema in Toronto is back to talk about a movie that a lot of people probably don't even think is a Christmas movie, but it literally takes place during the holidays, with the finale coming on Christmas Day. She's screening it as part of her Paid in Sweat program. We're talking about the one and only Rocky IV.
You guys can't see me, but I'm fist pumping in the air because I'm such a sucker for these films.
If you're listening to a podcast about Rocky IV and you haven't seen Rocky II, that's not on us.
I don't think anyone ever gives Stallone enough credit.
Stallone's got a big article.
Giant pictures of Stalin.
That's manslaughter.
We take our technology and make it into a semi-sexy robot.
Her and her husband wear the same clothes and have the same haircut. Like, that makes it a little weird.
The last 50 minutes of the film, half of that is montage.
Best driving montage ever.
In one of those montages, he grows a beard.
Because I got brain damage, goddammit.
If I can change,
Я думаю, что каждый тоже изменился
and
сегодня.
you can change,
Вы можете измениться.
everybody can change.
Каждый может измениться.
Vanya, welcome back. I feel
Hi.
like you might be my most frequent collaborator at this point.
Yeah.
And we're here because you're running your program at Revue.
Yes.
And it's the holiday season. It's not quite December yet, but
Right.
by the time that this episode comes out, it'll be December. And
Yeah.
you're going to be screening Rocky IV.
Yeah, it's like one of the sports Christmas movies. Like, there's not a lot of sports movies that happen around Christmas. And so I'm always trying to dig something up for December, and this is a perfect one because the fight happens on Christmas Day. The main fight happens on Christmas Day.
It does.
And I
Is
also
this a Christmas movie then?
I call it a Christmas movie.
Okay, fair enough.
And
I'll
in
take
fact,
it.
all the Rocky movies, like the first two and this one, like they just have like a Christmassy feel. So if you want even like leading up to Christmas, before, like you want those adjacent kind of Christmassy feeling. The first two maybe at the end after Christmas because they're like New Year's Day, and then the day after New Year's. So, but they all have like that, like snowy Philly kind of feeling. And the reason why I also picked with this one is because in January of this year, I played the first Rocky, which happens on New Year's Day. So I wanted to bookend this year with 2 Rocky films, one on New Year's, one on Christmas Day. Thought it'd be kind of cool. Do it that way.
No, that's a great idea. And since you just rewatched this one and you started the year with Rocky, which movie is the sweatier movie?
This movie's the sweatier one. I probably because the first one is more rooted in realism than this one. So this one is just like really like, first of all, there's actually not that much fighting in the first Rocky. And there's not that much like montagey stuff where there's workout montages and stuff really in the same way. So this one is definitely sweatier, pound for pound, more sweat than the first one. And it's like glitzier, so you can see it more too.
Yeah, it's lit so that you really see those sweat droplets flying all over the place.
Yeah, and they're heavy droplets and they're spraying out of their hair when they're hit in the face. It's like it just comes off of, it's like spraying. It's incredible. It's awesome.
And they utilize a lot of slow motion to capture that spray as well. So they're very invested in the sweatiness of Rocky 4.
I mean, it was a sweaty time. Top Gun came out like the year before or something. Like it was just a time for sweaty movies. That era is kind of perfect for my program, Paid in Sweat, because it's just a celebration of sweat and cinema. That's what I'm trying to do here, and that era is like really delivers in the sweat department.
Well, I think all of the movies that you joined me to talk about have been 80s movies.
Yes.
Right. So we did Weekend at Bernie's, we did Rocky, and we started with, what's the first one?
Crocodile Dundee.
That's right, Crocodile Dundee. So they're all like mid 80s movies for the most part too. I think Weekend at Bernie's the latest one in the curve.
Yeah.
So is there something that draws you to this era besides the sweatiness?
It's probably my age. It's probably like where it probably was where I was in that time. Also Karate Kid around that time too. Which is the first. It's I think the first movie that I saw in the cinema. Sometimes it's debatable. Like there was a re-release of E.T., so sometimes I have a blurry memory of that, but solid memory of seeing Karate Kid, which is very much connected to Rocky, and it's also sweaty, and it's very much connected to it in the sense of Bill Conti did the score. He did the score for Rocky. It's an underdog movie. It was just maybe a formidable time in my life where I was starting to form what kind of movies I liked around that time, like what, where I could choose movies too and be part of that conversation, so maybe that's why they picked the ones from the 80s.
Well, Karate Kid was the first movie we ever did for Film Club.
Oh, well,
and then I forgot who picked it, but they left the group after like a month. So we started with that one. But also like Daniel LaRusso is Italian, right?
Yeah. And
a lot of Italian underdog stories revolving around combat sports in the 80s.
It's really, and then the Conti thing, like it's crazy. There is even more of a connection between Karate Kid and Rocky, this movie in particular, Rocky 4. Bill Conti didn't work on this, the first one in the series at that point that he didn't work on the score. And it was Vince DiCola, because he was working on Karate Kid 2. And also Peter Cetera wrote Glory of Love for Rocky 4, and Stallone didn't pick it. He picked Hearts on Fire instead. And they used Glory of Love in Karate Kid 2. So there's a lot of crossover there also.
Wow. Surprising. Like they're the same movie.
they like fall in, like it's interesting. Everything kind of fell into place, we're probably gonna talk about the score, but everything fell into place. I think it ended up in the right areas, like Vince DiCola working on Rocky for the first time, and his like the era, that synth feeling, you know what I mean, what the other themes and elements in the film more it lends itself more to that that score, you know. And then like even Hearts on Fire is more kind of machismo, more like, you know, like, you know, more of a Rocky feeling kind of song, where there's like more of a love story in Karate Kid too. So Glory of Love is more in that camp. So everything just, bro, everything just fell into place. Wow.
Good thing we don't use the video for this show, huh?
Should we say what just happened?
We can. Is that your
husband just walked in behind me in his underwear, or like without his shirt on, at least.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he's in his own home, so.
Yeah, but he was warned.
Like, whoopsie.
Wow.
It's appropriate. There's a lot of guys like in their underwear, basically, in Rocky. You know,
I knew I should have put a sticky on the door.
You can come in, but have some clothes on.
Yeah. Or yeah, don't come in here. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Karate Kid too, because that also has a tall blonde villain who's being used as a pawn, essentially, by an even more evil person to promote the agenda of what they're promoting. So there's like this surprising amount of parallels and similarities between the two.
Yeah, since the beginning, like of Karate Kid coming out, it's always had like a connection to Rocky. You know, Italian American underdog story. You know, fighting as the sport. Conti, like it's always been connected. So it was like my baby Rocky when I was, you know, like my family always loved Rocky. And so that was me, I guess, my little version of it as a kid.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the why you chose Rocky 4, but if you had to sum up why this is like in the realm of bad movies, I mean, it's got a 40 something Metascore, 40 exactly. User ratings are solid, but generally ill received by critics.
So I hate when people say like, "Oh, you don't understand it, and that's why you don't like it." But there is something to be said about that with Rocky 4. I think that Stallone was trying new things, you know, and he was kind of at the forefront of like a lot of things, and people kind of were ready for that. And then over the years, it kind of got a reputation of being like not as deep, you know, as maybe the first Rocky or even the second one, and being frivolous, you know, and kind of like surface, yeah, because of how much it leans into like that kind of music video kind of vibe of the mid 80s, that kind of MTV kind of vibe. But really, I think that's what it is for people. Like they just started to disconnect, and I feel like as like a word of mouth thing, it kind of people started to be like, well, it's not, you know, it's kind of like cheapening the idea of what Rocky was in the beginning, and you know, he was this like Oscar winner kind of, you know, vibe, critically acclaimed on that. And then he was like more not doing that. He wasn't serving that critic kind of like Oscar baity audience. He was serving like more of a wider audience, more people, you know, connected with this film. It made a lot of money. So he wasn't trying to do that. He was trying to do something different. And I respect that. Like he was trying, you know, I think each film he's trying to like 1 and 2 are kind of like a companion piece, kind of like Godfather 2, like they kind of go really close together. But like with 3 and 4, he's like changing things up. He's done it many times. Balboa is very different too, you know, like I like that. Like I think he reads what is happening in the time and then tries to create that for the people of that time, like what people are into. But I think maybe people didn't understand that. And then over time, it just kind of took on like that. kind of mythology.
Yeah, and it's weird to look at sort of the trajectory of Rocky films and know that Stallone envisioned this as a trilogy. He was essentially done after the third one and then was like, well, the door is not closed on a fourth, but if we do it, it would have to include Rocky going outside of his element and being involved in some sort of like international fight. And so that's ends up being what this is. And I know you and I had sort of joked about when you picked this movie that like, oh yeah, Rocky ends the Cold War kind of thing. So it's like, maybe a little bit too much of a summary and maybe completely inaccurate, but that's kind of like what happens. I mean, it is this thing of Russia is being allowed to compete in international boxing for the first time, and Rocky happens to be the new symbol of like American greatness. And so you have these like clash of ideologies, and it's very identifiable, especially early on when Drago first fights Creed, and they have the sequence with James Brown, which, by the way, I'm watching this with subtitles on just so I can like make sure I catch everything. And I hear the song come on and I was like, oh yeah. And then I see on the TV, it says disco music. And I'm like, disco music? I was like, this is not disco music.
No, it's not.
But that whole scene is like just American excess spilling out of control. And you've got this guy from Russia who's been very sheltered, who doesn't really like understand what America is, and then he's coming up in the ring, like looking up, seeing James Brown, one of the most famous musicians in the world, and a bunch of like scantily clad burlesque dancers, for lack of a better word. You've got Apollo coming down from the ceiling, like, and so that moment is very interesting in the film because I didn't look at it as a kid as any kind of diagnosis of like American exceptionalism and excess. And then I see this scene now and I'm like, it's very apparent to me this is a particular choice. And Stallone is celebrating that in like, it's this big blow up in this moment. It's in Vegas. It's at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, which I've been to. So it's like an iconic combat sports location. It's in Vegas. So you're getting like the full Vegas experience. And as the filmmaker, like you're obviously having fun showcasing all of this, but to then take Drago and start him like underneath the stage in the ring alone in the shadows and then expose this character to this other world. Like there's a lot more thought that goes into that than just like, oh, hey, let's have James Brown come and party.
I don't think anyone ever gives Stallone enough credit for his thought process and that everything matters, right? So people just see that as he just wanted to, he threw in James Brown, but it's all symbol. He's well read. It's symbolism, and it feels humiliating, even the way he's coming up from the bottom and Apollo's above him. That is like, it's just symbolic. And he's not even just saying he's not even totally just celebrating American, exceptionalism. He's actually like exposing the excess because Rocky's not comfortable with it. Adrian's not comfortable with it. There's he's showboating, and Rocky's been in that situation before. He's already learned this lesson from Rocky 3 with when he fights
Thunderlips
Hulk Hogan, where he, Mickey wants him to concentrate on fighting, being a fighter, being, and it's also an exhibition fight too. And he wants him to really concentrate and pay attention. And Rocky's just, doing photo shoots and all this stuff that is like a distraction from his craft, his discipline as a fighter. And so when Rocky sees Apollo dancing with James Brown and, being, like excessive, he can see he's uncomfortable. Like there's shots of his face and he's making faces like discomfort. So because he's already been there, he's been in that space before, and he knows it doesn't turn out good, didn't turn out well for anyone. So Stallone is reminding fans, of that. But he's also, if you haven't seen the other ones, he's trying to say something with, like the expressions and everything that people are having, that, American, this is fun. It's great. It's supposed to be relaxed. It's an exhibition. But at the same time, it seems rude and excessive to people not from there. Right. And also like kind of humiliating in some way, on some level too.
Yeah, and then that is paired with this notion that like America has been passed in technology and like training. And then what it comes down to is like, yeah, well, you can't like beat the American work ethic kind of thing. And then Rocky's like, you can take all the steroids you want, you can use all the machines you want. I'm gonna go out here and fucking throw stones in the river and run through the snow. And like my work ethic is what defines me as a person. And there's nobody that works as hard as Rocky Balboa, even when you're the guy that's being juiced up and worked like a racehorse, basically.
Well, yeah, because it's not only that. Well, I want to talk about the technology thing because it's foreshadowed. Like people look down on this like object in this film as being silly, and it is kind of interesting what he said about it. The robot, because the robot comes in 5 minutes into this movie. Like it's Polly's really robot. Quick, and it's a gift to Polly, his brother-in-law, and it's a foreshadowing of this is what Americans are doing with their technology, something frivolous, something that has nothing, he's not getting drive the society forward. And one of the things that Stallone said that one of the reasons he wanted to show it was because he saw it at a party and he thought he wanted people to see it. I just love that. I just love that mentality. Just like, this is why I love Sylvester Stallone. Like he just sees things and he knows he's aware that he has access to things that like a regular person doesn't. Right. And he didn't always live with that access. But like once he got access to it, this is what he does in his films. He like delivers that to the people. Like he's like, I always say Stallone knows what the people want. He's like, listen, I saw this robot at a party. How cool would it be for people to see this shit? You know what I mean? And so he puts it in there. But he's a thinker. So he's like, it's also a foreshadowing of our superficial way of looking at things. The Russians take technology and they train their athletes to destroy us. And we take our technology and make it into a semi-sexy robot. You know what I mean? That will like carry things and just be basically a maid, instead of driving society forward in any way. So it seems but it's excessive, but he's saying that it is excessive for Americans and their behavior. But him as a storyteller, it's really smart and really kind of cheeky to do that early on and then remind you of it later when Rocky's training and he goes back to like his OG roots and is like dealing with natural things while Drago is being like juiced up and using all this technology. He goes back to like roots that kind of Apollo taught him too.
Yeah,
where it was like when they went in 3 to LA to train in the black gyms and stuff like that, and on the beach it's just like get down to like the core, right? The base, the beginnings of your, discipline. And, that's where you get the eye of the tiger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was Marvin Hagler who said, it's hard to get up early in the morning to train when you're sleeping in silk sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so he, as a professional boxer, like he understands that like when you're at the top, it's not easy to continue to motivate yourself in the way that you did when you were at the bottom. So stripping all that down, getting Rocky in a position where it's like he has to go back to basics. Like he literally eliminates like all technology. So he's got nothing else to do but train. Mm-hmm. It puts him in a position where he can connect to that person that he needs to be in order to take on a fight like Drago. Because it's something that he knew. He was trying to talk Apollo out of it in the beginning. He was just like, even though you might not think this guy like is skilled, you've only seen him fight maybe once, but he's a gold medalist. He's huge. He's younger than you. You've been retired for 5 years. This is not a good idea.
There are 3 discussions with Apollo to try and talk him out of it. 3. And then one in the actual fight. But there's the first time that Apollo brings it up, and he ends up talking with Adrian too about it, where she weighs in, and because she loves Apollo too, and she's pissed. There's when it's just him and Rocky talking by themselves, and they're watching their old fight together, like going back to their glory days, breaking down their old fight. And then again, in at the fight, when after he tapes his hands, he says maybe like postpone for like a couple weeks. And it's interesting because it's definitely like a midlife crisis for Apollo, because he had that wisdom in 3, because Rocky says, do you really think you're fighting him, or are you fighting yourself? You know? And Apollo kind of talks about that too, but in a different way. In 3, he says, the only person that you're like really fighting against is yourself. You know, that comes up. It's a common theme in Rocky. It even comes up in Creed, like later, where Rocky says the same thing. It comes up in Rocky Balboa. Like it's always there. It's like, are you fighting? Are you really fighting this person? Or are you fighting yourself? You know, to keep going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's echoed in Creed 3 a little bit. Excuse me, as well. I think now's probably a good time to bring in the trailer, because
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
because we have our own trailer for the screening that's coming up. It's To Hearts on Fire, and it's awesome. Nathan Boone here, who cuts most of the trailers, cut it. I picked the song, wrote the copy, but his cut is incredible. And he's actually cut a trailer for Rocky 4 before. I think ours is a better one. But yeah. So yeah, look at that one and compare it to this too.
All right, well, let's find out.
Before we get to that trailer, it's time for a quick word from our sponsor. Whether you've got the eye of the tiger or a burning heart, cleanliness is next to godliness, especially during the holiday season when cold and flu germs are easily spread. That's why you need Man Hands. The manliest soap there is, was, and ever will be. Fuck that Irish Creek crap. That spicy old stuff can eat shit. And you can take a hatchet to that other brand. Man Hands is the first and last name in men's soap from now on. The antibacterial solution gives you a layer of extended protection against germs for up to 24 hours after a single wash. Plus, it has brand new cutting-edge nanotech that stimulates muscle fiber growth. So not only will your hands be clean, germ-proof, and smelling like an 80s action icon, you'll also have the kind of handshake that people can't forget. Perfect for glad handing at those holiday office parties. So it's time to man up and pick up some Man Hands. While you're at it, grab some for all the men in your family. It makes a great stocking stuffer, especially if your stocking is shaped like a hand. And now, back to the show.
Today, the Soviet Union has officially entered professional boxing.
This is not just an exhibition fight. Look, this is us against them.
He would like to compete against anyone who's qualified.
Drago is the most perfectly trained athlete ever. Whatever he hits, he destroys.
He could have stopped the fight.
Oh, wow. They tell us that, Apollo dies in the trailer?
Do they say that he does, or do they just make it?
He could have saved his best friend's life.
Oh, yep. They do.
But now, the one thing...
Sorry, Carl Weathers. We're not even going to hide that.
Away.
Has the fight date been set yet?
December 25th.
Where?
Yeah.
Are you nuts?
When will you be going to Russia?
I'm not going to Russia. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's had one professional
He doesn't
fight
even consult
and one man
Adrian
is
about
dead.
it.
No, he doesn't. Which is not like him either.
Yeah.
Why can't you change your thinking?
Because I'm a fighter.
Because I got brain damage, goddammit.
It actually hurts me when she says, "You can't win." Like, it's really upsetting because she's never like that. What's my favorite part of the score?
Yeah. I think they did a really good job with Adrian's character writing, though, because she's like the only one that takes into account the damage that comes along with being a professional fighter. Like, she's the only one that takes it seriously.
Yeah, it's true. She's a really well-written character in general, always.
I must break you.
Nice. I love that height difference. It's incredible.
Right?
Rocky 4.
Oh, that explosion is so good. You guys can't see me, but I'm fist pumping in the air because I'm such a sucker for these films. Oh my god.
It's good stuff.
I mean, yeah, Adrian is always well written to me. I think she's one of the best written female characters in cinema, and she's written by a man. You know, it just goes to show that you can do that, and everybody thinks that, you know, attaches a lot of machismo and masculinity, even toxic masculinity to Stallone. But really, when you look at his writing of Adrian, it's awesome. And it's not like she's too good. She's just smart, and she just understands, and she just loves him, you know, and he loves her. It's great. That trailer, that's pretty good. Like, I would want to watch that.
Yeah. I mean, I want to watch it. I just watched it last night, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll watch this again. But
yeah.
With regards to Adrian, I feel like for the majority of my experience watching Rocky movies, I'm more or less on Rocky's side. I'm like, I want to see him fight because this is a movie about boxing. I want to see him box. But in watching it now, I was like, I feel more like I'm on Adrian's side. If I were her, I would also be like, don't take this fight. You're past your prime. Like, you just lost last year and had to fight to get your belt back. And now you want to travel to Russia without talking to me about it. Fight this young Russian kid who just killed your best friend. Like, so the risks of his decision are probably like more apparent than ever before, because it's like you literally just held your best friend in your arms as he died in the ring fighting this guy, and you're thinking that you're just going to go over to Russia and fight him and you're not going to consult me about it. Like, it's fucked up in a way that I didn't like pay attention to as much. But I think in the director's cut, the one thing that I liked is that they sort of changed the narrative around the reason to fight in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Apollo feels that he is obligated, like, by the Warriors Code to take this fight. And at his funeral scene, his trainer even says, like, the warrior gets to choose, like, how he lives and how he dies. And then so even though Rocky is trying to, like, push back against that and get him to not take the fight, what ends up happening is that he's honor bound to take the fight and avenge his friend's death if he can. So it is like a weird narrative to on the one hand be like, here's this warrior code that we know is only going to result in like the worst possible thing, yet I have to adhere to it despite the fact that I have a woman that loves me. I'm rich. My kids are well taken care of. I even bought my like loafer brother a servant robot to bring him beer and flirt with, whatever. So it's like he has no real reason to fight. And they even tried to, when Apollo was asking Rocky why he didn't take the fight, and Rocky was just like saying, well, I don't know if I'm going to take the fight. I don't know. He was clearly at the point where he's like, I'm done with boxing. And then in talking to Adrian, she's very concerned with like both Apollo and Rocky's health fighting this young guy. And then so as bad as like Rocky 5 might be, the thing that I like about Rocky 5 is that it actually takes into account like the damage that these guys are going through. And then Rocky 5 centers around like him having CTE basically, and being in a position where he shouldn't fight anymore. And he's actually being told by the doctors that like, this is the final frontier. And a lot of that is from this fight in particular with Drago.
Well, the thing is, Adrian has not wanted wanted Rocky to fight since Rocky 2.
Yeah.
Like, she went back to work because she didn't want him to fight. And then he didn't know what to do with himself because he's always been a fighter. He made a lot of money off the Apollo fight in 1. So I think she thought, we're good. So she hasn't wanted him to fight a long time. And one of the things I love about Rocky 2 was that the first thing we see, spoiler if you haven't seen it, came out like almost 44 years ago. So good luck.
If you're listening to a podcast about Rocky 4 and you haven't seen Rocky 2, that's not on us.
So I love that they're immediately driven to, I always say I love that they're immediately driven to the hospital. Like, we never see that. We don't see that when we're watching boxing. We don't see that, in other boxing movies where they were like rushed to the hospital immediately. Because they're so injured that it's like life-threatening, basically. Could be. So she hasn't wanted to fight for so long. And so every time they step in the ring, she's going to be concerned, and so especially now at their age where they're not as swift, or strong or whatever, because, even in Creed, Rocky talks about the only reason why he was able to beat Apollo because of time. Time was Apollo's enemy when he finally beat him. So, she knows all that. They all know that. That he after Apollo is beaten by Rocky, that's basically should be it for him, because if he's that good of a fighter and Rocky was able to get the jump on him, that last time, that means he's just run out of steam. Not because he's not a good fighter, but because of nature. And so she wants to put her foot down and he goes against it. I'm showing the theatrical cut, so you're not going to get that kind of you're not going to get maybe that deepness that you find in his director's cut. But I think that it's still there and apparent, because it's in the music too. It talks about Burning Heart is basically tells the story of Rocky 4, where they talk about the warrior code in the lyrics. And so there is, and also you have to remember in Rocky 3, Apollo dug him out of his funk, after Mickey died. And so I feel like he really feels like he owes Apollo a lot to his success, since the beginning. They've been tied, their fates have been tied together since their first fight in, back in the day. So I think that that's more to me. I always think about that. I'm like, oh, they've just been tied together since the beginning. That was the real beginning of Rocky's career as a fighter, and then with Adrian, she is right. She's right on so many levels. She's right because he didn't consult her, and then she's right as his wife, he should have consulted her, but she's also just right, just factually, because they've run out of steam. And then one of the things that I love about how she's presented, because she's not in a good chunk of this when he first gets to Russia.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things that ever happens in television or movies and storytelling is when a character comes back right when they're needed most. It's my favorite thing. Oh, I love it so much. And so right when he's grown a beard, and just is you can tell he's just trying to push forward. She just is showing up. She's at the door after montage 3 or something like that.
Yeah, I think I wrote that. I was like, wow, this is the 4th straight montage in a row.
Okay, I'm telling you, it happens every few minutes, basically. He has a montage, No Easy Way Out, when he's driving.
Best driving montage ever.
Listen, it's an incredible montage because it's cut together. It's genius. It has cut together every other Rocky film before of flashbacks, incorporated that. So all the way up to moments before with Adrian and him fighting on the steps. That's a flashback in that montage, which I think is incredible, along with like their love story from the very first film, and every other all 3 movies before it. It's like all cut together in that. It's incredible, and it's basically the entire song. It's like that one is almost the entire song, and then within 3 minutes, Burning Heart, like, and then within like a couple minutes after that, there's like another montage, like another like a I want to say like a instrumental maybe montage or something like that, because there's one of those. And there's like
the number that I read was that approximately 39% of the film in total is
like a third. Okay, so
50% of the final half of the film is montages.
The last 50 minutes of the film, half of that is montage. And they come close together. Like they're like 3 minutes, 2 minutes apart sometimes. And it's kind of awesome. It's like one music video after another. It's really fun.
And I think the one in the car is like, it's my favorite because of the things you mentioned. Like, I think this idea that like I need to go for a drive to clear my head kind of thing, right? So that's what Rocky's doing. And in the process, like, we don't get this conversation between him and Adrienne of like the why should you do it? Why shouldn't you do it? Let's have that conversation, because we already have had that conversation. And so this is him going for this drive and realizing like, literally, I don't want to do this. I have my wife, I have my life, I'm successful, but I have to do this thing. And in the process of going on this drive, like, he has the theoretical conversation with Adrienne. He has the flashbacks to those moments where he knows that here's the reasons that I shouldn't be doing this. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, this is a Rocky movie and I need to go avenge my fallen friend here. And I just, I loved it. And then it just goes montage. And I mean, that's pretty great too, because it's like, it just feels fast. Like, I know it's only an hour and a half anyway, but like that whole middle of the film, like, it breezes by. And then it's like, oh, wow, we jumped from he's putting the belt on his coffin to he's stepping into the ring in Russia. And it feels like no time has passed.
Yeah, because the pacing is incredible. It's the shortest Rocky movie, right? I think.
Yep.
And the pacing is just is awesome. And in one of those montages, he grows a beard. He grows. I'm not joking. Like, in one montage, he starts with stubble, and by the time he's done and he sees Adrienne at the door of the cabin, he has a full beard. And that is to show that time has passed. Yeah,
and he's Italian, so we don't know, like, was this a week? Was this a month? Was this several months of training? I mean, typically, like, a good training camp is probably like 3 to 4 monds. And especially for a fight of that magnitude.
It's a thick beard. It's like prominent. It's been a while. And it's but I like also how quickly they patch up, because she knows he has to focus and he has to get to work. I like that it's not this big conversation. She basically is like, I love you no matter what. And he says, no matter what. And then there's like an embrace and a kiss, and they both look gorgeous too. I just love I feel like, what is wrong? You know, there are certain directors that get this, like Sofia Coppola, she gets this. What's wrong with like everybody just looking awesome? Like, their clothes are awesome, their makeup's awesome, their hair is awesome. Like, and he just looks so fit, and he's wearing that big winter coat and the toque, and like, oh, that's like a knitted ski hat for people translate that aren't Canadian. And then she looks, cute, and she has a nice coat and boots, and it's just, and they're in the wind, they're in the snowy, Russia. It's beautiful. I think that's and also just like Stallone, clearly he loves an excellent aesthetic. It's just like, even when we're in Vegas and like there's the whole big show with Apollo, and it's so flashy and so big, and the Russians are so annoyed, but then they have their version of it too. Yes, it's not as fun because it's not James Brown, but it's like giant pictures of Stalin. And
this is how we celebrate. And then was it like the Gorbachev sort of like, he's not an impersonator, but he's designed to look like him for sure.
Yes. And just give like disapproving stares. I can't believe I just said that. I mean, they have their version.
I mean, if anybody listens to this in Russia, like, you know, take it easy on us.
Yeah, I apologize. But that's what's in the movie. I didn't do it.
That's true.
Take your beef up with Sly. But I just like that it's all like big sets, and you know, it's wonderful, and everybody just look like Drago looks like he's gorgeous, like and his wife Brigitte Nielsen looks amazing. She has my favorite lines in this movie. Something like you have the belief that you're so, you know, that you're better than us. That's whole thing. You have the belief that you're better than us. You have this belief, you know, that you're so very good and we're so very bad. Oh, I love that. It's just, I love that whole thing.
And it's kind of weird that, you know, her and Stallone got married after this movie. And then when he released the director's cut, he basically cut all of her dialogue out of it.
It's so petty. It's so petty. Like, dude,
she's got the line too about the death threats, where
because she says that she's scared.
Yeah, and like that's a moment where I think as the audience, like there is some room to have sympathy there, and I think like especially in watching the director's cut and seeing a little bit more of how they framed Drago, like there is sympathy to be had for this character. He's not just this machine that he's made out to be, and I think that's a little bit more at the core of the story than it gets credit for, because he is.
I agree.
He's like part of this propaganda machine, and we get the look at him at the end where his trainer's like screaming at him that you got to stop this guy. They're cheering for Rocky out here, like you're fucking up, and win it for Russia, basically. And he's like, I fight for me. Like I'm here to fight for myself, not to be part of this thing that I'm part of. So it gives him a little bit more like individual like personality than I guess I remembered.
Yeah, he is part of like a machine. They actually treat him like that. They talk around him. They rarely, I mean, he doesn't seem to have much to say, but still, you know, he's kind of, the way they train him is much like, it looks like a horse, you know. He's not really like doesn't seem like a person. They just pump him full of stuff and just like are all just like looking at him like a racehorse. And then but when she does say that she's concerned, I mean, there's no reason not to believe her. Like when I was younger, in my mind there were such villains, you know. And I think that often is like the case that changes over time when you get older and you look at things in a different way and you have experience and wisdom. You kind of can see that it's not, it's more gray. It's not so black and white. But it is, when you're younger, it does make sense that you would just like draw those lines, you know. For me, it was a little different in my house because my name is Vanya. My brother's name is Yuri. My dad has a whole Russophile thing happening. So he was like, we would look at this, movie and be like, you know, my dad was like, he liked this movie, but he would also have some things to say about Russia that were more complex. So, and it is interesting that like even Apollo says it's us versus them. So like he does like kind of present in that way. And then you could see maybe now as I'm older, when she says like we're getting death threats and stuff like that, I'm concerned for my husband and for myself, you know, that he's going to get hurt and stuff like that. And then when she also introduces herself to Apollo's wife and says, I hope we can be friends after. When I was younger, I used to think to myself, I never used this language back then because I didn't have it, but I would be like, shady bitch, you know, like, right. Really, are you really wanting to be friends after? But it's kind of like, why not? You know what I mean? Now I look at it, I'm like, I have no reason not to believe her.
Other than that, she's like Russian and dressed a certain way, and her and her
so
husband
hot.
wear the same clothes and have the same haircut. Like that makes it a little weird, but
Her haircut's so hot. She's so hot. Like I knew it then. I wanted to kind of be her, but also liked her, simultaneously. She's just so beautiful. And it like all works for her. But yeah, there's no reason not to believe that she feels threatened. And that is like a perfect reason for Rocky, as an honorable person too, to say yes to going to Russia as opposed to fighting at home. It's actually like the perfect reason.
Yeah. They also removed the scene from the theatrical cut of the boxing commission explaining why they wouldn't sanction the fight. And so I'm watching the movie, and like since I've seen this movie, I became a big combat sports fan, and I've watched a lot of boxing over the years. I've been to several like mixed martial arts events in California and Vegas. And well, one of the things I noticed is that even in the 2000s era, probably like 2005 and beyond, we would go to events and it would be just like, oh, okay, this fighter's from Korea, this fighter's from America. The fight's going on, and then in the building, eventually you start hearing like USA, USA. And I'm like, for me, this gave me an opportunity to be a fan of George St. Pierre, who's from Canada. I mean, a guy like Conor McGregor from Ireland became the biggest star in the sport. Khabib is a Russian, he's Dagestani. But so you've got like all these stars, and Yair Rodriguez from Mexico now. You've got like so many different stars from different parts of the world. And to see that the fan base gets behind them, not because of where they're from, but because of how they fight and who they are in the ring was interesting.
Yes.
But then also to still be like, oh yeah, but when I go to the events in person, you still hear the drunken USA chants, and it's like, oh, this person's from China and they say horrible things, or there's a woman fighting and you hear some jabroni in the back yelling like kick her in the snatch or some dumb shit. I was like, I realized that going to the events live is not really like my cup of tea. It's nice for the like experience, but ultimately I'm like, there's just so much drinking going on, and like there's fights in the stands and all this shit. And I'm like, yeah, I'm too old to be getting involved in that garbage.
Yeah, that's your Murtaugh energy.
But in the context of like watching combat sports since Rocky, like this was probably one of the catalyst reasons for why I got into boxing and mixed martial arts later in life, is because of the Rocky movies. And so to see a character design like Apollo, and I'm thinking to myself, like, is he supposed to be like the anti-Ali? Because you have a guy like Muhammad Ali who goes from being, Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. He gets thrown in jail for not supporting the war effort.
Yes.
And so he loses time off of his career. And then here we get Apollo, who wears the American trunks, is like, I have to fight this guy for the USA because it's us against them. It's very interesting. But in terms of like the way they designed him, it's like he moves a lot, like he dances a lot in the ring. He likes to be fast. He does a lot of like the taunting stuff. So it's like, it seems like they did do a little mimicking of that Muhammad Ali persona for Apollo, but then changed enough to be able to sort of like wiggle what they want into the story.
Well, I think that you could say that that Apollo comes from that same school, of like, I think separating the man and his sport from his politics and his morality, they could be similar, in their school of like how they learned to fight, you know what I mean? Like what kind of fighter they were, or like, because, Apollo in 3 talks about like a certain rhythm, you know what I mean? That like a black fighter would have like a certain kind of style that they'll have. And so they could come from that same school, you know what I mean? And then there's trash talking, which we know is like in different sports is like, a part of the culture, also. So there is that. But then like Apollo has more of a pride and issue than Muhammad Ali, you know what I mean? In that, like, I don't think Muhammad Ali, as much as everything he said, he could put his money where his mouth is, right? And I think for Apollo, for the most part, that was him too. But then where they differ is that I think, Muhammad Ali would let go of that kind of pride, for more important things, where Apollo got swayed by that. Maybe they just come from different places on a on a personal level, but largely as boxers, they're like maybe from a similar school.
Yeah, I feel like for a movie to be released in the 80s about boxing, to have like iconic American heavyweight champion, it's like you kind of can't act like Muhammad Ali doesn't exist in history.
Exactly.
So I'm sure Stallone was like, there's things I like about this character and his style that I want to bring here. But it brings me back to that particular fight where Apollo dies. I'm like, first of all, he's circling left into the straight right hand of Drago over and over again. Like, strategically, he had a horrible game plan for this fight. Like, stop jabbing and circling to your left. You got to go the other direction. And then he's basically winning the whole time until Drago's corner is just like, attack. And then Drago hits him with one punch and the whole fight turns. But then Drago should have been disqualified multiple times. And then he hits him with a late punch. He shoves the referee in order to continue attacking him. And I'm like, that's manslaughter. So they kind of gloss over that in the theatrical cut. And so I was like, okay, I don't remember this meeting that Rocky has with the, I don't know if it's the WBO or whoever the organizing body is for his championship. They tell him like, no, we can't sanction this fight. This guy's got one professional fight. A guy just died. We're not going to allow this fight to be sanctioned in the US. And so Rocky's like, all right, well, I'm going to fight this guy. And so I'm going around you. And that's why we're going to Russia.
Right. And that's another good reason on top of, the other stuff, but them wanting to go home. But because it is manslaughter. He straight up murders Apollo because he's knocked out anything that can put limits and boundaries on the fight. Like, once you've now thrown the referee away, physically thrown him, then it's like, it's over. Like, that's you acting, maliciously, trying to really, really hurt somebody. And then he dies. And then he actually says it. He like signs his confession by being like, if he dies, he dies, while Apollo's still in the ring, which is a very popular line. But it's like, what him saying that is kind of like, here's my confession that I just straight up murdered this man in the ring. And it is glossed over in the theatrical cut. But he's murdered him. He's killed him. And that's another reason why Rocky probably wants to follow through with this too, because it's not just simply like just a loss and then an accident.
Yeah, exactly. And so I guess I didn't expect the movie to really like get into the sort of like behind the scenes negotiations like with the boxing commission, but I like that the director's cut actually like included that. It's in the trailer too, but they don't, I think, show that in the theatrical version of the film. So it tells me that Stallone, as the filmmaker, is much more aware of like the story he's telling and sort of the tether to reality that he wants to maintain as far as boxing, because obviously the boxing is a certain style in this where it's not super realistic. I mean, he wants them like landing punches and stuff, but I think somewhere in the trivia I was reading said that like there's not a single punch in the final fight that is blocked by an opponent. Like they just land or miss the entire time. So it's like, okay, you're going to land 10 on me, I'm going to land 10 on you, we're going to go back and forth here, but there's not like much technical boxing going on. So to then step out of that and be like, well, I want to include the scene with the boxing commission explaining like that this guy did something illegal, that we're not going to sanction the fight, that it's not like that they actually are doing the things that the commission should be doing, even though a lot of athletic commissions that govern combat sports are very, very shady and have done a lot of dirty things over the years. To include that conversation tells me that, at least as a filmmaker and as a storyteller, Stallone had a very precise vision for what he wanted to do with this film, and I was glad to at least see that included in the director's cut.
I think he's just a really smart storyteller. I think he is a thoughtful storyteller and doesn't really get credit for that. And even in his theatrical cut, the theme that he wanted to end with was like peace. So that's what he was leading to all along, was, why are you doing this? Why on Christmas Day? Why, like this idea that Rocky's trying to bring people together and end the Cold War. But like also just, when he says, that I could feel people changing, during this fight. And if I can, and then, I felt like changed by you and you felt changed by me, then basically we can all change, and it's like he's trying to, in that loss, trying to find something else. He lost Apollo, but he's trying to come away with something that is positive from everything that's happened between them. And that positive thing is Russia and the United States coming together, and seeing like good in each other.
Yeah. And like in fairness, that final fight, when I guess it's probably round 2. Like Rocky gets his ass kicked in the first round. Then in the second round, he comes out, he fights back a little bit, and then like the music cues in before it gets into another montage.
Incredible.
Like when the music queued up, like when he lands a couple big punches and it's like it's a fight now. I was like, I got goosebumps right now. I'm like, it's so well structured that like just that little tonal shift is like, okay, like Rocky is gonna make this a fight.
That synth like kick in at that like that, when that kicks in, is incredible. Like, yeah, I'm freaking out right now. I'm like so excited.
You're gonna watch it all over again,
right? But at least listen to that score. Like, it's so incredible. Can we talk a little bit about the score? Because like, Vince Nicola, I think I read that he got a Razzie for like worst music or something like that.
Nominated for it.
Nominated. Which I think is outrageous, because it's an incredible score. And not only is it a wonderful score throughout, he incorporates different things. Like he does with Hearts on Fire, he does this build up until it gets to, and he adds in Conti's Gonna Fly Now. It's when he's going up the mountain, and it's all like his score, and it's like and then all of a sudden it's like like it brings in the original score. Oh, that is incredible. And it's seamless, and it's so seamless, but you get this, like, it's still, he has a layer of like that 80s synth vibe built in, and with Conti's like that classic, Conti does synth stuff too, but not when he did Rocky. So it's like it just the incorporating the two, it's incredible. And then he does that too with Burning Heart, where he uses he builds his score into it, and it's throughout the film, it's incredible how everything lands. There's excellent needle drops, but then Vince Nicola's score is like incredible.
Yeah, and it's got to be especially difficult to make a film where you have these needle drops, and then to still like put your personal stamp on it, and to then also like pay homage to the iconic original Rocky score that has worked its way into people's hearts and minds over the previous decade at that point.
If you didn't watch Rocky, if you knew nothing about Rocky, till this day, people know that score, even if they've never watched Rocky or know nothing about it. They know that that score deeply. It's like just one of those things that kind of surpassed it. It stands on its own, separate. So you have to kind of, it's been twice now where I've seen a composer incorporate that score. It's like you don't want to leave it behind, kind of thing. It's so much. It's a character. It's like Rocky's. It's part of Rocky is like as a character. It's part of him. Like you want to have like a little touch of it to like tell the story.
Yeah, it's up there with like the Jaws music, and
for sure.
So when we had done September for Film Club, and we talked about a little bit about Superman, which you picked, and like we kind of got into Man of Steel a little bit, but I think one of the biggest missteps that Zack Snyder and that Man of Steel universe did was it's like even though the score is good, the Superman music is so iconic that leaving that off the table is a mistake. And so Bryan Singer's Superman Returns like isn't overly loaded with the Donner music, but it still incorporates the main theme like when it's appropriate, and it makes it feel like it's connected to the character in a way that like the Rocky music does. When you hear that music, it's Rocky.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like you're right, because if you bring in the John Williams, like if they had done that with Superman, I think there's like it's like part of the beating heart of the character in a way, and that familiarity, even if you didn't watch the original Superman, you would have gotten something out of it because you know it. People just know it, and so Rocky. That's where one thing where I think it's Ludwig Göransson. I think he did the Creed one, and he brought in Conti too. And so I think Vince Nicola, though, like he blew it out of the water. Like it's because it's such a music heavy. Actually, I should talk about this with my screening too. Because I feel like a lot of the film is a music video, like with multiple songs. I really wanted to have a band. So there's a band in Toronto that was the premier Miami Connections cover band. They're called Dragon. They're called Dragon Sounds, and they're awesome. There's another programmer called Brandon Lim. He has a program called Black Belt Cinema, and that's his house band now because he's part of that band. And they're going to be playing Rocky hits they're going to be playing music from the Rocky soundtrack, about like a short set before the screening on December 13th. So
that's awesome.
Because I really, really wanted to have a band. I really wanted to have, there's another band in Toronto that used to do, that was a Rocky cover band called Balboa. And for reasons they're not playing right now. But I was like determined. So one of their members is going to play that night too. In Dragon Sounds. I was really determined to have like music, something like that, because it's such a music heavy film and it's done so well that I thought it would be fun. So I think it's gonna be a good night.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I wish I lived closer than California.
Right? Like you would have such a great time. We're gonna have a t-shirt. It's gonna be great. And I wish we had transporters, Nick, because you would totally be there. It'd be great.
Well, if I live long enough to see teleportation technology, we'll stop by one of the screenings.
Or maybe we'll have a time machine and we can go back to this point and you can be like, and can go.
Well, I hope that I will make it out to Toronto at some point. I know I'm supposed to go to Buffalo at some point. I was going to go this year, and then the wedding planning sort of took over that. But next year, I'm going to put it on the calendar. I want to go to Buffalo for a game. So, I mean, I'll be pretty close at that point. I feel like I have to, cross the border over to Toronto at that point.
Just a little bit further. Well, it's a lot further, but like...
It's just across the falls, right?
Just that. It's so big here. So far away. I just needed to talk about the Nicola and that. But yeah, this movie, you're right. It does have a lot of depth. I just love Stallone as a storyteller. I feel like in a way, I feel like he was so ahead with this film, like just that, like what I talked about before, that MTV kind of drive. He also understood, I think it was Siskel that talked about how he liked this movie. And I think he was saying how he just understood the David and Goliath aspect of this film. He knows how to make you not like a character. He knew how to set that up so that you wouldn't like him, and then you would be, you root against him, but he's like a compelling, even though he doesn't have a lot to say, he's like still really compelling. There is like a kind of like an animated aspect of, like, they're all the colors and stuff like that. I like the iconography of Rocky, right? Like just the colors, even the whole Russian thing is very attached to the series now because of this film. And then obviously there's like, he loves taking like these items through. In this, he has the hat that he's given from Apollo that we learn about at the beginning of the movie, and then he wears it when he lands in Russia. But the shorts, the Star Spangled Banner shorts, they always they just follow along for so long, like Apollo wore those, but then Rocky ends up wearing them. He's worn them multiple times in the ring, like, even though those are Apollo's colors. And then Creed ends up wearing them, but Adonis ends up wearing them. But I just love that iconography that is followed through. There's like, it's very consistent. There's not a lot of, I think that's lasted so long because of that, like holding on to these like little markers that, like, he's very smart and making sure that it's consistent and familiar and keeps reminding you of all these, that you're part of it, kind of, by learning about it over the years. Yeah,
it's an interesting through line through the entire franchise, that like this one item not just represents sort of like greatness. It doesn't just represent like being the top dog in boxing. It represents a certain amount of responsibility and a certain way of fighting that goes along with that. And I think that's really what, like you said, connects people to that item, reminds you of the history of who wore that before. It's like it's always sort of calling back to the origins of the franchise and the characters.
And he does it, it's interesting how he does it with clothes a lot too. And he clearly cares about that kind of thing. Like even the tiger jacket, that is in Rocky too. Like I love that thing, and people know that as a Rocky item. Like he has a store. Someone has a store, and he can sell these things because people know. Like he has like a pendant, and it looks like Rocky's hat, like his little hat from the first Rocky, the little pork pie kind of hat. And then he has like the sweater that he's wearing when he's cleaning the car in this movie, with the Italian colors. It's like I think it's maybe an Adidas sweater, and it has like a red and green stripes and white. Like there's all these like little things that he's like connected to the character over the years. Adrian's red beret, I wear a red beret, like, and I'm on my second one that I always own one because I didn't think about it before, but I realized, oh my god, it's just Adrian. That's the reason I wear red berets. And I found one at a thrift shop, when I was really young, and I was drawn to it. I was like, oh, now I realize it's because of Adrian. It took me a while to like have that sink in. And then when that one got holes in it, I just bought a new one to replace it. But he keeps this kind of palette going that you stay connected with always, that he can kind of fall back to. And I love that.
Well, since we're talking about clothes, which it seems like we're going to do every time we get together, Rocky's blue sweater in this that he's just wearing like at the dinner table when they're talking to Apollo and he goes in the kitchen. He's just like, it's just something he's wearing casually. It's not like as fancy as some of this other stuff, but I'm like, damn, this sweater is really nice. I like this. It's a great color. It kind of like the Weekend at Bernie's jacket color as well. That, that powdery blue.
Yeah, it's quite sexy actually, because you can see his figure through it too.
Maybe that's it. He's like, I busted my ass to get in great shape for this, so I'm going to wear some stuff that's flattering.
I think people don't like forget because they weren't part of that time or they don't remember like how he was in people's minds, how Stallone like dominated so much of people's thoughts, in that time. And it's really interesting that we're talking about him now. And I feel like, his documentary just came out, Sly, and he's like oddly prominent in the Barbie movie, because Ken is like really like Greta Gerwig is a big fan of Stallone's, and so is Ryan Gosling, and so they really like studied like his look, and so Ken kind of emulates that with the fur coats and stuff that he was wearing at a certain time.
Glasses.
And even I went to see, there was an anniversary screening of Slumber Party Massacre, and in Slumber Party Massacre, the little sister, she's looking at a playgirl, and Sly is on the cover, and I found it and I bought it.
They got him wearing like a polo shirt on the cover of Playgirl.
He's wearing it's like a sweater.
Oh, okay.
like a Henley. It's blue. He's just like, he was like a style icon.
And how naked is he in that?
He's not really naked. I got it for the articles, Nick. Come on. Let's be real. No, he's not the centerfold in this. He's just the cover. He's the cover story. This is from 1981. It just covers a bunch of stuff happening. It's a big article in here, a bunch of pages, but he's on naked in it, unfortunately.
Stallone's got a big article.
But one of the reasons why I like Stallone, and I know I go on about him a lot to people, and I'm sure people are sick of me talking about him, but it's just his mark on cinema is really, really big. And I think people don't really recognize that. But I love movies, and he clearly loves movies, and it's really, if you really look at his contribution, I think when he touch wood, when he's no longer with us, I think people will, unfortunately, it's when people will really truly start to recognize his the weight he has on this industry.
Yeah, and it's like it's an interesting parallel that the way that Rocky started and sort of like where Stallone started, and his adherence to the character and his commitment to the character and the script, and that sort of like launching him into superstardom is an interesting like parallel between him and the character. So I think as he continued to make the movies and write about the character, the personal aspect of it was shining through. And I think that's probably the reason that we all love Rocky in the way that we do, is that this is coming from a very like personal and real place that is sort of like speaking to the time in his life, like sort of as it's happening.
Yeah, even when he is at his most prosperous, then we see Rocky in that place too, or when maybe people aren't paying attention to him as much, we see him kind of in that place too with Rocky Balboa. And I think I was really excited when Rocky Balboa was doing really well, and it was like, and it was really good,
It was,
people really recognize that. It's exciting.
It is. You want to do some trivia?
Time for trivia.
Why am I so scared about this trivia? Like, I feel like I don't want to fail.
There's no failing. It's just for funsies.
I know.
Okay.
All right. Let's see how I do.
So question number 1. The training scenes in Russia were actually filmed in which U.S. state?
I know it.
Do you?
Wyoming.
Oh, you do know it. Look at that.
I actually know that. I don't know why I know that.
1 for 1. Don't be afraid.
I can't I can't explain why I know that. Don't ask me. I just know.
Okay. Well, you might know this. You might know the second one then too. That this was the last film that Sylvester Stallone directed until 2006, when he returned for which film?
Is it a Rambo movie?
No, you just mentioned it a second ago.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, Balboa. What am I saying?
That's right. Rocky Balboa in 2006.
I overthought it. See what I did to myself?
Yeah, it's like, I know you know this because you
Yeah,
literally just mentioned it.
It's because I overthought it and I got anxious.
I'm going to call that 2 for 2.
Oh, thanks. You're so generous.
All right. Third and final question for this round. This is the only Rocky movie not to include new footage of which Philadelphia institution?
Mickey's Gym. Wait. No. You mean like a real... Oh, no, like a real place.
Yes.
Is it the art? Is it the art museum? Like
it is
steps?
the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Was not included in Rocky IV.
You mean like a real place? I can't believe that happened to me.
Mickey's Gym might be a real place. We don't know. I haven't been to every crevice of Philly.
That corner is real. I don't know what's happening there, but
well, there you go. 3 for 3.
I had some. I'm 3 for 3, but I had some like mishaps along the way.
It's okay. You win ugly. It's totally fine. That's Rocky style. You got to take some lumps in the process.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I think that when I played sports when I was younger, I was I was never the best athlete. No, nowhere near the best. And what my coaches all said was, she's scrappy. She's scrappy. She'll just keep going, no matter what. I remember like I hurt myself at a slow pitch game, and I played with a sprained ankle. I like ran home, like and got like, and we won, and it was awesome. It was great. Like, and I remember like getting like semi lifted up when we came home, like to this, because it was like in the middle of the day we played, which is really rare, and we got to like celebrate our win back at school, and everybody was like half lifting me because I couldn't walk on my ankle, and they were like, she ran home, and I was like, yeah. Like it was so very Rocky. I know that I was thinking about Rocky a lot then. I was 12 years old.
Yeah, got a little fighter in you after all.
I have to. I was scrappy. I'm like, no, I wasn't much. I'm short, and so I had to make up for a lot of things.
Yeah, gotta work harder than everybody.
With heart,
just like Rocky.
Exactly.
And he has that moment in the movie where he talks to his son about like sort of what fighting is and like why he fights, and about overcoming like the challenge of fighting. And it is like the sweet moment because he knows too, like his friend, I think Apollo had died at that point in the film where he's having this conversation with his son. And it is sort of like he has to kind of prepare him, like, I'm taking a massive risk and I also might die here, but I have to do this thing. And I just want you as my kid to know like the reasons behind why I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's interesting because he talks about being a fighter and how it's the only thing he knows, and it's just what you do. It's interesting that he because he learned so much along the way in each film that part of me is like, I can't believe he's making this decision again. But also it is kind of just who he is, who he's always really been. But yeah, he does want different things for his kid, which I think is interesting too. Cause so he knows it's, not for everybody. Not everybody should be doing what he does.
Yeah, and that character dynamic comes into play in Rocky 5 and in Rocky Balboa, as well, as he has to sort of grapple with the reality of the relationship with his son, because in 5 it's like he's adopted sort of Tommy as his surrogate son, and so like his son isn't getting that attention because his son is not a fighter, so it's like he's not having that same element with his dad. And then in Rocky Balboa, it's like his son is fully grown adult and he has to, start to try to rebuild that relationship that was damaged after the course of, basically the fourth and fifth films.
Well, I like that the last line of the film too, though, is to his kid, like, is that he says to my kid, who probably should be sleeping right now, Merry Christmas. And then he says, I love you. And then his kid kind of, I think, mouths it. And that's the end of the movie. And that's why it's a Christmas movie, because everyone learns everybody learns the true meaning of Christmas, which is love.
Would you be surprised to learn that this is the highest grossing film in the franchise?
No.
It's interesting that it's this one, because it is negatively viewed by critics, but I think beloved by audiences for its briskness.
Yeah.
You get in, you get out, you get the fight with the Russian, you get the themes, and it's not asking you to really do a ton as an audience member. And it's just, even though that this one was 85, it still has outgrossed the Creed franchise movies, which, just based on like the volume of or the overall ticket price right now for a movie is a lot more expensive than it was in 85. So to see that this is still held up as the highest grossing film says a lot about it.
Yeah, it's the way it's like, it's packaged so well too. The movie, it's every little aspect of it, like what I was talking about in the iconography and how everything looks. It's a really quite a glitzy film too. It's like splashy, then also the soundtrack, it makes people excited. And yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that it, like, I think a lot of people connected with it if like they couldn't really understand or grapple with some of the themes in the earlier, for like the first couple of films. That this one kind of, people at a certain age, this was their Rocky film. A lot of people that like the Rocky series, they're like, oh, mine is the first one, or mine's the second one, or the third. And this, for a lot of people, this is the one. Like, it just had all the stuff. Apollo's in it, he's exciting. Like, it's just, it checks a lot of boxes,
Yeah. And it has a lot of like its own internal history available as well.
Yes.
In the director's cut, it starts with the flashback to the Clubber Lang fight. Is that the case with the theatrical?
Yes, because the first 4 Rocky films, no, actually 5 Rocky films, they all start from where the last one, except for the first one, obviously. They all start from where the last one left off, which is done in better in some than others. And it's such a great device, and not a lot of films were doing it when Stallone, when Rocky 2 came out. Like, a lot of films were doing that. That's more common now, but not a lot of films were doing that sort of thing. I actually trying to think of what would have done something like that in 1979 when Rocky 2 came out.
Previously
like
on Rocky.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what was like that. And it is really smart. And that's another thing. It's like this, it's like driving the, stylistically and like everything forward. Like, he's always like trying to push things forward. You think about even the robot, like, a year, like, was a year later, you get Short Circuit, which killed, and so he's ahead. he's ahead of that, right?
People love cute robots. Get it?
You know what I mean? Like he gets that kind of thing, and he jumped on that, and he jumped on the MTV thing. Yeah, and so I think for people when they look at Rocky 4, they just connect on it and all. It's like a very fun film, and I think people just latched onto that, and you can watch it with a bunch of people. That's also a thing. Like you watch it with your friends, but you can also watch it with your family. There's and it's kind of thing where it's not too serious.
Yeah, and it gives a nice like simplified presentation. Like I think just from an overview, it's David versus Goliath. It's Russia versus the US. It's good versus evil. It's a very straightforward narrative that even if you had never seen a Rocky movie, you would just go in as like a general audience member and be like, okay, well, I know that Russia's the bad guy, America's the good guy, so all this stuff is just going to line up the way that it's supposed to for me to be able to enjoy it. Oh, and the whole middle of the movie is a music video, so it's like very 80s as well, and it's a good time. So yeah.
I was thinking about the clothes again. Do you remember, like, I'm in like the first Rocky? I actually found this once, and then of course it was like a lot of money, and I couldn't buy it, and then it disappeared. But the sweaters that they wore, like the corner guys, Rocky's corner guys, they had like sweaters that were like these pink cable knit like cardigans, and I remember because I'm crazy, I was once looking for it. There's also like a t-shirt that says like Rocky win or whatever. Stallone makes it now. And it was like very retro, kind of looks like, just like it looks almost like stick-on like letters. But I found that sweater. I found an original of that sweater, but it was like a lot of money. And then I would just go and look at it sometimes. And then one day it was somebody bought it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's over.
Yeah.
That dream is over. I'll never have that sweater.
When is yard sale season in Toronto?
You'll never find that. And but in this, Rocky and the corner guys are at Apollo's fight. They're wearing red, white, and blue Hugo Boss, like half zip sweaters.
Yeah, you gotta get that sweet quarter zip going.
Sometimes I'm like, I should be looking for that one of those. You know what I mean? Like those are awesome. But yeah, just like things like that, I always think of like with Rocky 4 is like very different from that cable net, like from like the first movie. It's like now we're wearing designer, sponsorship like sweaters. Product placement, I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweaters. But yeah, like I don't know. I think it just connected with people in that way. 3 was kind of like that too, because they had like Mr. T, and well, that was the beginning of Mr. T actually, and then but it had like Hulk Hogan and stuff like that, and so I know a lot of people that are close to my age, that are also that's their favorite one. I think because it's just like a little bit more, like the action's a little bit different. If you really look at the first Rocky, there's just like a lot of talking,
Yeah, it's almost not even about boxing. It's more about just like a guy who wants to be a boxer, who wants a better life for himself.
Actually, like really none of the Rocky movies are about boxing all that much. But Rocky, the first Rocky is really not about that. Like even Stallone says, he's like, it's not a boxing movie. It's not a sports movie. It's a love story.
Yeah.
And then also like, and then except for Meredith, except for Burgess Meredith in 4, everybody's back. Like Duke's there and he's awesome. Apollo's corner man. He's great. He has a great line in it. Couple of great lines in too. When he talks to Rocky by himself, he's like, "You're gonna go through the most like through hell." He's like, "But I know you'll come out on top when it's over," and he's like, do it. But then he also gets to say no pain when he's like working out, which is awesome. And then you have Paulie back, the late Burt Young. He just died this year, and he's in it, and just like his crotchety old self, but he also gets emotional in this one. He's like a big whiner. Paulie's like a jerk and a big whiner, but in this one, when he says he he would want to be Rocky is really, it's like a really touching moment. I also cry at every Rocky movie at the end. I always cry. I don't know.
I mean, the ending that at least with the one that I watched last night was like sweet because it just, Eye of the Tiger comes on. It ends with a freeze frame of Rocky with the flag and Adrian and I think one of the cornermen, it was probably Duke, which is the great Tony Burton, wearing the shirt that says Balboa, and it's like them on their way out of the arena, and it just like freezes there. Movie ends, credits roll, and
theatrical.
Yeah,
the theatrical is different. It's he does his little speech. He says, "Merry Christmas, I love you." Then, it's I want to say it's Burning Heart. Maybe it's Hearts on Fire. It might be Hearts. No, I can't remember. It's one of those songs from the soundtrack, not Eye of the Tiger. I really like Eye of the Tiger. To me is very much rooted in like 2 and 3. Those are like I like, a couple people when I was picking a song for this trailer for Rocky 4, people were like, "Are you going to use Eye of the Tiger?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. That would no, you can't use Eye of the Tiger for 4." But that's interesting that it's in the director's cut, because to me it's like very much solidified in those 2 films, and then and then I love the credits in the theatrical cut. It's just like a bunch of clips from the movie in black and white. It's very cool. It's really nice. Another thing that this movie has that I love is the fight with him and Apollo. That is like their recreational fight after, right at the beginning, after he wins with Clubber Lang, and then they go and they fight by themselves.
Yeah,
when they're extra shiny.
This is just for us. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know how they're extra like shiny, and they like go into the ring, and then because Apollo wants another shot at him, and then he's like, "Ring the bell," and then Apollo goes ding ding with his glove, which is like I remember I'd get so excited. But remember how that fight ends in a freeze frame? And it's just them both throwing a punch at each other, and it ends in a freeze frame. So there's that painting that was made of him and Apollo, and it's of that image that someone made, which is interesting because then Rocky has it in Adrian's, the restaurant, in Rocky Balboa. He has that painting up, and which is interesting because nobody was there to see that fight.
Yeah, and so I think in the first Creed movie, he talks to him about it too.
He talks to him about it, yes.
There's this rumored like third fight that happened between you two, like what happened in that fight.
And that's when Rocky says that he won, that Apollo won that fight between the two of them. And that's when he says, "The only reason I beat him, your dad, like the first time," that's when he tells him, is because of time. That he was a better fighter, but it's time beat him. So, but that painting, I think I'm always like, no one was there to see that. What did Rocky do? Like,
we recorded it.
No, he explained it. He's like, "You see, we're both there, and I was in the red, yellow shorts, and he's in the red shorts, and then we both struck each other at the same time, and maybe you can capture that."
We've gone like way into the details of the Rocky universe where people are like, what are they talking about?
Well, also, I just wanted to point out that I love freeze frames, and I don't know, I've loved freeze frames forever. It might be because of Degrassi. It might be because these movies and Degrassi Junior High. Every Degrassi Junior High episode ends on a freeze frame except for like a couple. It's awesome.
Interesting. I've never seen it.
It's so good. I don't know how you feel about it now.
Yeah, I think
like
I
after school,
missed my window.
You might be like, but actually, you know what? You might actually like it. You might like it.
I might.
But every episode is like something happens, and then it's just like either good or bad, and it'll be like, yeah, like two people may, maybe they'll make up, or maybe they don't make up, and then the person gives like a face, and then it's like freeze frame, and then the music, So good. It's a freaking dream.
I'll have to watch at least one episode just to see what's what.
Yeah, freeze frames. Guys, we need more of them in present day. There's not enough
freeze frames in cinema, please.
Yeah, do you like freeze? Like, I mean, come on, like, bring it. Like,
yeah, is this do I remember correctly that it's either this Rocky movie or one of the other ones where it's like during the fight montage, it's like there'll be a moment, a punch gets thrown, and then it freeze frames and then like fades to the next scene that's happening live. Then that one freeze frames. Is that this movie?
I think it's this movie during the big fight montage where it's like little ones woven in. And then I think there's one right when he wins, when he's being lifted up, the one on the poster.
Yeah.
When he's being lifted up and wrapped in the American flag. When I just realized it's so like rah
it is very
USA.
much so.
But he's wrapped like a Roman god in in the American flag, like toga style, and he's being lifted up, and his face is all like, you know. And I think that's a freeze frame in this too. But I just love that. Yeah. So I think every time a Rocky movie starts where it left off before, at the end of the fight, there's a freeze frame. And then it starts.
More freeze frames in movies. That's what we need right now. Young filmmakers utilize the freeze frame.
Do this. Like, it's really not that difficult, and it's so fun. Everybody will be happy with it. Don't you worry. But yeah, like wrapped up in the American flag. I can't believe that. That happens.
Other than freeze frames, is there anything about Rocky IV in particular that you wanted to touch on that we didn't get a chance to before we mosey on over to Critics Corner?
I feel like there's something it's bothering me, but I don't know what it is. But, you know, we can move on.
I will add one thing in that the technical boxing snafus in this, in the first round against Drago, Rocky gets knocked down 3 times, but he only gets knocked down on the scorecards once. He only gets counted by the referee on the 3rd knockdown. But in boxing, if you have to grab the ropes to hold yourself up, that's a knockdown. If your glove touches the canvas, that's a knockdown. If your knee touches the canvas, that's a knockdown. And also following up with a strike on your opponent in any of those situations is a foul. So they kind of threw that out the door because Rocky gets like wobbled and his glove touches the canvas. He holds himself up on the ropes. And then the 3rd time he finally goes down and gets counted. But I think watching the fight back, I'm like, he got knocked down like 6 times. And like the referee would be hard pressed to be like, I just watched this guy get dropped 3 times in the first round. And now he's getting dropped like 4, 5, 6 times in the ensuing rounds. You probably got to stop that fight, ref. You can't just let Rocky get pummeled like that out there. Like with Apollo, it was in the 2nd round that the fight was over, right? Yeah, so it was like he made it to his corner. The ref tells him like, okay, you got to like be careful. And I like that there's a scene in this director's cut where the referee comes over to Rocky's corner and he tells Duke, like, your boy is hurt. So like, I'm going to have him on a short leash. And he turns around and he's like, hey, well, he's hurt too, like talking about Drago. So I was like, okay, so this is a little like maybe a little bit of a correction from what like they missed out on there in the first round of the fight.
I do love in the theatrical cut when he's like, you've hurt him. You've hurt him. He's scared now. I love that. He's just like, he's on a machine. He's a man. Like,
he's a man.
Yeah, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he's a man, because you're like, yeah, it's just a man. You can do this. And Adrian yells out. Oh, at one point she yells out, "You're gonna do it!" Like she just like says it because it's like it's happening, you know, right there in front of our eyes.
And it seems like she also started the Rocky chant in the audience.
Yeah, I think she does too. Because when she, yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to see the crowd turn, you know, to be on his side, you know.
Yeah, because they can recognize that like this guy's tiny, he's taking a beating, but he's still here fighting, and he's like fighting for our entertainment. So like there is that respect, and I don't know if it's in the theatrical cut, but when Rocky leaves the ring here, he goes to Drago's corner and he just like fist bumps him. He taps him on the glove and just kind of gives him acknowledgement, like that was a good fight. And then he leaves the ring, and I was like, okay, like I don't remember that, so it's possible that that was there, and I just didn't notice it. But again, it's like
I don't think
this guy killed your friend, and you still are giving him like props on the way out. Just you're a good fighter.
I think I prefer the theatrical cut. I don't think that because of the killing of Apollo, I'm kind of like, nah, we don't need to do all that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, yeah, you killed my buddy, but like, yeah, that was a good fight. So it is weird because it's like, there's things I like about the director's cut a lot. And I think the decision to just like trade 42 minutes of new footage for like 39 minutes of old footage was a mistake. I think if you're going to do the director's cut, like just make it 2.5 hours and like put everything that you want in there. Give us the complete vision. And give us like there's no poly robot in the director's cut either, so like you miss out on a lot of like the little stuff.
Yeah, and I think sometimes like I think he like was probably had hurt feelings because of the way people joke about the poly robot and stuff like that, and make it seem like it's so silly. But like I said before, it's actually a foreshadowing and an example of the frivolous and superficial, capitalist society up against, and what you would do with that technology again up against what the Russians would do with their technology, which tech plays a big role in it. In fact, it like influenced this movie, changed the way people were looking at like workout equipment and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
After it. So like it obviously switched things on in people's minds, which films can do. And it did that. And so like if you take out the poly robot thing, which I understand the pressure because people are so like up in arms about that, either they're like really excited about it and love it, in the trailer, that like the copy in the trailer that Nathan made, I put robot included. It's like theatrical cut and robot included is in the copy because I want people to know that this is the one that came out in 85. Like I want people to be excited about. I love the idea of time traveling. When we show a movie the way it was seen, the way people that were like there in 1985, how they watched it.
Yeah, that's why I always go back and look at what the trailer is from. I know most of the time it's like 30, 40 years ago. And so a lot of the trailers I never saw, or, they were either before I was born, so I never saw them, or it was like during the era where I was too young to even be like watching movie trailers. So a lot of these I'm seeing for the first time, and it's a really interesting experience to go back and see like how it was edited, what is being sold to the public as like what the movie idea is, because a good trailer does a good job of communicating tone and sort of like the building blocks for the story that are going to get you interested. And I know a lot of people now like don't watch trailers because they're like, oh, like it ruins too much of the movie. And for the most part, I don't think that's true. I think for something like a comedy where they have to spend some of their joke equity in order to like make you laugh during the trailer to get you to go to the movie, that's not like a great formula. But I still think a well-cut trailer with like the right music, the right choices, like in terms of tone, still will get me to see something that I never would have considered. And if I didn't sit down and literally do release radar every week where it's like, oh, here's all 30 movies that are releasing, theatrically on streaming, on video on demand, if I didn't sit there and watch all 30 of them, there's probably a ton of stuff that I would never even give a second thought to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that trailers, sometimes when I've seen a film and I see a trailer that came with that, I think, ooh, I would be pissed if I saw all this in the trailer.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it is usually comedies, actually, because it's usually like spent jokes, like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But also, for review, every film has a trailer. It's often cut by Nathan Boone is like the host editor, mainly. Some of them are cut by other programmers that cut their own trailers. But he's excellent. He's like just hundreds and hundreds of trailer he cut, and they can only be 1 minute unless they're part of a series of films that are coming out as a group. So if anybody's listening, I implore you to look at my trailers for Paid in Sweat. The copy's written by me, the songs are picked by me, but then Nathan has to interpret that, and he does an excellent job of it. And it's really difficult to take all that footage and put it into, to pick what the best stuff is to go into only 1 minute. And they're incredible. Like, he does an incredible job. And then also not just do that, but frame it up so it has the feel of that program specifically. Because there are certain films that can be played in different programs, but you want the feel for that program. Right. So if like you have like a movie, say he's a producer on another program called Neon Dreams Cinema Club. So that's like a neo-noir program. And I just played Marathon Man. So Marathon Man could be a Neon Dreams title in their program, but it would be he would cut it differently to suit their program, where for me, cut it in a certain way for Pain and Sweat. So go and look at the trailer for this. It's great. But even just like go to the reels on the Instagram page for Pain and Sweat, and it'll like all of them will be there, all the trailers, and they're awesome. He's done an incredible job. That just the way you're storytelling. And every film also has a poster. That's one thing I wanted to mention too. Also has a poster for the film, and the poster for this one is designed by Tom Ralston. He's a great illustrator. And it's a very like David and Goliath poster. It's incredible. You should see it. I just posted it.
I think you did. I might have seen it.
I just posted it on
Drago's like
Sunday.
A big shadow in the background.
Yeah, he's like a big weighty.
Very cool.
And then Rocky's wrapped in the American flag, like in the front and smaller. It's awesome. So check that out too. And so each poster, is done different. Tom doesn't. This is the first one he's done for my program. There's another designer called Drew Shannon. He's done a lot of them too. They're all on Instagram. It's really cool to go back and look at those. Well,
I'll make sure I put the link up to that Instagram in the show notes as well.
Thanks. Yeah, and then next year, and this is my last film for the year. So it's been 12 months of like just going, and then I have the next 3 films mapped out. Their ticket pages aren't up yet, but they will be soon. Starting kick off the month with the year with Slapshot.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll be Slapshot, and then in February, The Cutting Edge.
And I recommended that to my sister when I forgot what movie we had watched, and it was kind of like similar, and I was like, oh, you gotta see Cutting Edge.
Yeah, and it's great movie from my youth. And then in March, Hackers.
Ooh.
Which is a March Madness. I like to do something a little off kilter. Clearly, that's not a traditional sports film, but it was a time where extreme sports were a thing. And so it's incorporated into like rollerblading and skateboarding are incorporated into this film. And so I thought it would be at a time when people were just talking about extreme sports all the time. Right. I thought this would be like a fun one to do.
Yeah,
there's going to be a musical guest too for that.
I mean, I did watch a lot of X Games growing up. That's for sure.
Yeah, and when that movie came out, it did have that vibe, that like, like electric,
counterculture
kind of, yeah. And then along with like, snowboarding, skateboarding, like rollerblading, like inline skating, I guess, called. Like was the thing. So I thought it would be like a good kind of time capsule to go back and look at that time in relation to how what it was being done with it on film, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel about going to Critics Corner right now?
I'm excited about it.
See what all these mean people had to say about Rocky 4. All right,
what do they have to say?
Let's start at the bottom. Okay, we got two 20s. The overall Metascore, as I mentioned earlier in the show, is a 40 out of 100. We've got two 20s at the bottom, one from Time magazine and the other from the Los Angeles Times. So you can choose.
Los Angeles Times.
LA Times. Oh no, this is my native newspaper.
That's why I picked it.
Sheila Benson says this is grim and witless storytelling, and what makes it so depressing is that it hasn't improved by so much as a chemical trace since the days of the first Rocky. She does not like Rocky franchise at all.
She just doesn't like Rocky. Yeah.
Yeah. Because as we talked about, there's a lot of character growth. And I mean, yes, a lot of it in this film is sort of buried behind the music video montages. And there's, only 92 minutes, even on the more extended version of it. Or I think it's 93 minutes. But so there's not like this huge like character building journey, but you've got already 3 movies of character building before we get to this point. This is a different turn in the franchise. So to say that it's grim, number one, is ridiculous. Witless storytelling when we're talking about the little minutia of like the costuming, the set design with James Brown, like the robot, and the sort of foreshadowing of the technological stuff that's going on with the Russian fighter. Like, it is definitely not witless.
It's not witless.
And it's not depressing either. This is maybe the most uplifting and just enjoyable of the Rocky movies on its surface. And, you and I had talked prior to doing this recording, and I said, if someone said that this is their least favorite Rocky movie, I'd be like, I get it. And if someone says this is their favorite Rocky movie, yeah, I get that too, 100%.
Yeah. It's so true. It's true. That's just the way it makes you feel. Yeah.
It is. And so let's move on. We've got TV Guide magazine that gave it a 25. Not even that much better. It says Rocky 4 is a far cry from the delights, both large and small, of its illustrious original. So again, it's like, this is someone that's like, this isn't the first Rocky movie. And it's like, right. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. This is the 4th film in the franchise. You expect it to just be the first one again? Because I guarantee you, if it was the first one again, you would be complaining about that.
Yeah. He can't win at this stage. Yeah.
Nope. So yeah, there's definitely like a group of critics that are just like, this is my starting position, and I'm unwilling to budge on it. I have to see this movie for an assignment, so I will say something about it, but I can't give it any grace. And if that was written at the time that it came out, that's one thing, but to do that with like an extra 40 years worth of knowledge and context, and an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5, I guess, maybe Rocky movies, because Rocky 5, Rocky Balboa, and then the 3 Creeds. Like, so if you have the context of all of these films and you're looking back at 4, it doesn't stand out as this like weird anomaly.
No, it actually is like a sign of the times.
Yeah.
And it's actually like ahead of its time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's very 80s. It's very excess. I mean, I think Stallone is probably like in the best shape of all the Rocky movies for this one. Like, he definitely put in the work, because he's like, shit, I'm going to be standing there against a guy who's a foot taller than me, who's been working with Arnold Schwarzenegger to get in shape for this.
Yeah, it was him. He set himself up because he told him to put on like 80 pounds of muscle, and he went and worked with Arnold, of all people, who's gonna get that job done.
Yeah, and I mean, you see, like, Lundgren's physique is crazy in this movie as well.
It's incredible, but also then look at some of the things that Stallone is doing, like when he's lifting his legs.
Yeah, he does that like sit up from the barn where he's just like frozen in sit up position. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, and it's incredible. And then also when he's lifting, one of my favorite things is when he's lifting the bag of rocks and he does that twist.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Or when he's lifting them in the carriage and they're all sitting in the Duke and Holly and Adrian are all sitting in the thing, and he has to lift it, and he looks like he looks Herculean is the appropriate word to use, because the beard, and then he's like, oh! He's like the beard, and he's just like in a tank top, and it's just like every vein is like gonna like explode. Incredible. Love it. Guys, if you're listening to this and you're in Toronto and you don't run and buy a ticket to see this on the big screen, like, I don't know what you're doing.
It really is just like a great sort of theatrical movie experience, because it doesn't slow down. I mean, you start in the middle of a fight, and then before you know it, you're whisked away to montage land, and you get like this great music. You get this great like editing that sort of pieces together all these other Rocky movies. And I know that the critics here have said that like, oh, it's a lazy sort of rehashing of the originals, but it's not. Like, it's done with intent. And it's one thing to say, like, I would have preferred that Rocky and Adrian have this long, drawn out argument or this conversation about the risk benefit analysis of making this decision. But that's not what the character is doing there. He's already made up his mind, and he's just struggling to actually like reconcile having to go home and tell her that is the case. And so that's why we get a montage scene of him in the car where it's like, hold on, snap zoom to him shifting into third gear here. So I'm just like, fucking Louis with his driving gloves on. You got to love that shit. It's amazing.
I just love your face right now. It's so sparkly. Your eyes were this like, you're like, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it again. I'm not going to watch it at home again. Yeah. I'm going to wait until I get to watch it with an audience, on the 13th. And I just can't believe I get to do that again. And like, then a band too, to like lead you into it. Like, guys, it's going to be pumped. Like, we're going to be like
be so much
through
fun.
the roof, punch the sky. Like,
show up early, have some drinks. I know that like this is happening in Canada, but like wear an American flag t-shirt or something, like,
Yeah, you can do that. Take your corner. You know what I mean? Draw your line in the sand and cheer and freaking cheer. You know what I mean? Or wear your best like 80s outfit. Bring your best like Adrian style, your Rocky, like in that.
Get one of those sweaters.
Outfit. Yeah, go old school. Like bring your old school Rocky vibes. Like, just like, lean into the whole night. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Let's get into some more of the positive. Well, so I guess slightly positive. These people gave it a 40. So we got Empire, the New York Times, and Newsweek all gave it 40s. Who do you want to go with?
And what Newsweek, Empire, and what? Which one was?
New York Times.
I'm gonna go New York Times. Because
it's
all the news you can fit, right?
I guess so. This is our paper of record did not like Rocky IV. Janet Maslin says the comforting sameness of all the Rockies and the overbearing star quality of Mr. Stallone in his lovable lug incarnation may well make Rocky IV another hit. But when it flashes back to its antecedents, particularly to the original Rocky, with its bashful heroine and self-effacing star, it becomes clear how bloated and hollow the story has become. It's another, like, we don't like the flashbacks, and it means that this movie is empty. And, like, I get the knee-jerk reaction to be like, this movie is showing me clips of the previous Rocky movies. And sort of being turned off by that, or thinking it's lazy filmmaking, maybe. But I think that throws the context of why there are flashbacks out the window. Like, there's a reason that these flashbacks are happening, and it isn't lazy storytelling, in my opinion.
I don't think it's lazy storytelling. I think I actually think that if it were like drawn out, peppered throughout the film, these flashbacks, then that would be maybe like leaning on that as a crutch too much. But I think it's incredibly hard what they did with that one montage to show it. That's really hard. It's like what we were talking about with the trailers that Nathan does, like taking down this one film to 1 minute. So they used a full song, but they took they took 4 films because they're using portions of the film that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So they took all the footage leading up to that point in the 4th film and told the entirety of the story and of so if you never, it's actually such a great service to do to people too who'd never seen any of the other Rocky films.
Exactly.
So if you're coming into just Rocky 4, you're going to get like a little snippets of all the films that have happened before it. And they just boiled it down to one montage, one song. That's incredible that they were able to do that. And you get like, and you also, it's so that you earn, so there's so much emotion connected to it. It's such a big payoff. The song's incredible, woven into like the driving thing. It's very of like the time. It's probably like, ahead of its time in that way too. It's so cool. And so the payoff is, as I said, is incredible. But then you also get all that story, and it's not, he doesn't force you to have to keep revisiting all that story throughout the film. It's condensed in that one. So I don't know how you could be pissed off at that. I'm not excited about it instead.
Yeah. Even, I mean, just watching it again, like I know that's coming. I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
But when there's no easy way out.
So good.
There's no shortcut home.
And it's like, it's just emotion and all the flashing. Oh my God. Like, I love how it's done with like reflective, like flashing, like the night driving feeling.
You got like the rear view mirror lighting up his eyes at the right moment.
Yeah, and you also have to remember, like, think about that time too. Like what was the biggest show? Probably like, I don't know, was Miami Vice out then?
In the 80s, yeah.
Like in 85 though? Was it out at that point?
Question.
But yeah, like Miami Vice had come out like the year before, right? And you think about like the pilot of Miami Vice has an incredible scene where it's just two Crockett and Tubbs and they're driving in a black car, and you're seeing all that reflective. He pulled from a bit of that, you know what I mean? So he clearly is trying to tap into this. And yeah, Miami Vice was the biggest show like on television. And so he's grabbing a little bit of that energy. You know what I mean? He's not ignoring that. He's not trying to like, he push people away. He's trying to capture those people. And I think, but also do service to his franchise and do its own thing. So it does get a little bit of that energy, but then he does his own thing, and it's awesome.
Yeah, so Rocky's also wearing like deep V-necks in this movie a couple times. So it's like, yeah, he knows what's up. Rocky's a fan of Miami Vice. He sees it on TV and he's emulating the style.
Of course. Of course. He's thinking, he watches Miami Vice and he's like, look, it's me and Apollo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, looks like Crockett and Tubbs, and he's like, well, I like have that we talk about, like, I've been talking about Nathan, the editor, a lot. We're both huge fans of Miami Vice. And so like we talk about that all the time. But I'm sure Rocky's like, look at that's me and like we're stylish like that. This is so cool. What if me and Paul weren't fighters? What if we were vice cops?
Right. He's imagining a world where they can do team ups and buddy movies. We can run on the beach. We like beaches.
Like, you think exactly. You think that Rocky and Apollo have not talked about Miami Vice? They totally talked about Miami Vice.
Yeah, when they got done watching that old fight of theirs and talking about that, they were like, yeah, let's throw on Miami Vice. It's time. The weekend.
Yeah, exactly. You know that they're talking about that shit.
Yeah. All right, let's jump up the ladder. We're going to go to the Chicago Sun-Times. That means it's Roger Ebert. He said he gave it a 50, so not great, but I mean, that's 2 out of 4 for him. That's not horrible. Rocky IV is movie making by the numbers. Even the climactic fight scene isn't as exciting as it should be, maybe because we know with a certainty, born of long experience, how it will turn out. Well, sir, in the first movie, Rocky doesn't win. In the third movie, he loses. So what certainty do you have that he's going to win here based on the previous films would be my question. And even if you do know that he's going to win, who cares? I still got goosebumps talking about that moment. I've seen the movie and I'm still like, oh yeah, he hit him with a good punch. Now it's a fight. And I'm just like, yeah, let's go.
You saw it last night and you've seen it many times before. And it still works. It still works every time.
It does.
Yeah.
There's a reason this movie's beloved in that way.
Yeah, I think so. Siskel got that.
He did.
He figured he understood this movie.
He did.
Like, it made sense to him.
Well, speaking of Siskel, he's number 1 on the board with an 88 out of 100.
That's higher than I even thought. I thought he was going to give it. I thought he might have given a 70.
Yeah, I don't know how he arrives at 88. I don't know what kind of scoring system he was using. He's got off those stars, I see. You don't get to an 88 on 4 stars.
Listen, I also had an argument with some Americans about grading.
Oh boy, it must have been enjoyable.
Because our grading is different. Our like A to like A to F grading is different in percentages.
Oh, interesting.
And so like 88's like really great. That's like a that's an A or a B plus.
Yeah, for us that's like a B plus that's borderline an A. Like you almost got to an A.
No, that's not what these people were saying.
No.
Yeah, and I was like, how is that possible? How is that possible? That doesn't give enough room. That doesn't you can't that has to be you can't go any lower than that because then that means if you get half of everything right, that was the argument. I was like, if you get half of everything right, they were like, if you get half of everything right, that's not very good. I'm like, it's half, and you deserve that half, right? That's not a fail. It's still half. They're like, so if doctors get 50%, I'm like, no, that's why they have to get a certain percentage. 50% is not enough for a doctor, but maybe
correct.
It's enough for bartending.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that's not an insult at bartending. Don't come at me. I'm just saying like the difference between serving a drink and like dealing with somebody's life is different.
Yeah. And I mean, like each particular, I guess trade school type of thing will score their curve appropriately. Like you have to get this to pass.
Yeah.
So it really is like the pass fail line is not at an F. It's more at like a C range probably.
Yeah. And so anyway, it was so crazy. They were like 50% is not, because I was saying like 60s here is a C, right? When you're getting into the 70s and early 80s, that's in the B area. And then when you're at the top of the 80s into the 90s, then it's A and A plus, right? So, and they were like, no, that's no. And I was like, what? That way? And then we talked about temperatures and it all went out the window. Anyway, out the window.
Fuck your centigrade.
I don't understand. If something's 0, it's 0, and then minus that is like less. I don't understand how that's difficult. Oh my god.
I guess I always looked at the letter grading because like when I used to actually like rate movies like for real, I did a letter grading system. So it was anything that I would say is in the 90 to 100 score range would be an A. Then the B plus range is like, I guess 87, 88, 89. Then the mid B is like 84, 85, 86. And then the low end 80 to 83. And then just kick that on down the line. But I think what I ultimately came to the realization is like, if I first of all don't believe that any movie is perfect, I don't believe in such a thing because it's art. It's not meant to be perfect to begin with.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to just be like, this is a 10 out of 10 movie, like for me personally. So it's like, I just don't look at it that way. Yeah. So I think anything I would say that like a curve is more appropriate. So anything that's like 9 out of 10 range would be like what is considered a perfect movie or like the top of the food chain.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So he says sorry, I took you on a journey.
It's okay.
So 88.
88. We don't know how he arrived there, but he gave it an 88, and we're happy about that because that's really good. And he says, whereas Stallone with Rambo is messing around with real places and real events, in Rocky IV, we all know that this is pure Hollywood, pure fantasy, and very well-made Hollywood fantasy indeed. Yeah, bingo.
Yay.
Yeah, this isn't meant to be like First Blood, you know? This isn't even meant to be Rocky 1.
Rocky 1. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. I just love that. And it is made for, like I keep saying, to tap into the time that was things that were happening at the time, you know.
It's almost like 80s glam rock, except for in filmmaking, because it's like it's not the hair and the musicians and like the costumes, but the wardrobe choices are very specific, and instead of the hair and like the unitards, they replace it with oily muscles.
And smiling.
Lots of oily muscles.
I get to smile at you and be silent. I'm smiling really big. But I also like, it seems that I want coming with you with like fashion. We've always like 3 films now, and we've talked about fashion in every.
Fashion's an important part of film, and I think it's an easy thing to overlook in terms of like why you go to the movies. Because most of the time I'm not going to a movie thinking like, hey, I'm so interested in what the costume designer is going to do. I'm not here to really like observe that. But when it's done well, it resonates with me. It stands out, and I remember it a lot after the fact. And so I would say like Saltburn is a good example. We just both saw that recently. Came out just like last week. The costuming in that isn't meant necessarily to be like, hey, look at my outfit kind of thing that we see in other movies. It's like, these are what these kind of rich people would wear, and they do it a lot more subtly. But then you get some big costume choices where Richard E. Grant is wearing like a suit of armor at one point in the movie, and you got
the eyebrow ring.
Yeah, the eyebrow ring. You got Barry. He's wearing his white, I don't know if it's like a floral print, but it's like a white jacket with like silver sort of like branches or something on the front with no shirt, and he's wearing antlers.
Yeah.
And so
to the party.
There's very specific choices that I think enrich that film. And I think what I came away with like thinking is each frame in that film, each scene is so richly textured visually. But it's doing it without like beating me over the head with it, of just like stare at this awesome costume we took the time to make.
Yes, I agree. So I've said this many times, and I think I already said it on the first time I was here, that I love contemporary costuming, because I consider it to be its own challenge. Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about that Weekend Bernie's, like the idea that there is like when you have like an opulent, long ago period piece, much, like pre 20th century or really, really early 20th century, then people, it's its own challenge. You know what I mean? Recreating those costumes is its own challenge. But if you have to buy clothes that exists today and create a character with that, say something about the character, say something about the time, for instance, or say something about the character with that's its own challenge, because people remember it, or they're living it with it at the moment, and they have to, they're applying what they know in that moment to it, when they look at it. I'm a big fan. I've talked about this before. People are sick of hearing this, but I'm a big fan of *Halt and Catch Fire*, that show, which was set in the 80s, in which I love when the characters that were wearing, some of the characters that had less money, they're wearing stuff that's from the 70s, because that people don't get rid of their clothes. You're wearing the same clothes that you wore, 5 years ago, a decade ago. And so they look older because they're wearing 70s clothes in the 80s. And then Joe, Lee Pace's character, is rich. So he's wearing like kind of Miami Vice style stuff. He's wearing newer, all his stuff is brand new and designer. So he stands out in that way. And then Cameron's character is all like, she's a punk, she's young, and she's has like likes punk things. So her stuff is like a mix of some new stuff with some, you know, thrifty stuff, but it's not 70s either, but it doesn't have money attached to it either. So it's its own thing and says something about the character. And I think that's fascinating. Like when you have to think about those things, or you have like a show like Mad Men where, you know, the British come over and they're all wearing tweeds and stuff like that, you know, and they stand out, you know, or you go to the future and Don's still wearing like a skinnier tie and people are starting to wear wider ones. Things like that. There's like very subtle things, but it tells you something of the character. And even on a conscious level, it's getting in there and you're seeing it, you're understanding it. Yeah, it's fast. It's fun. And Rocky has that, and you know, in its own way too. The Russians are all in like specific one color, basically.
Like that sort of like olive military green look.
Yeah. Even in Brigitte Nielsen's like stylish attire, she's still in their colors. She's still in that gray kind of color. You know, she's not her makeup. She's not wearing like red lipstick. She's not wearing like flashy eyeshadow. You know, she's made up, but it's all like muted colors.
And she's very much like a stark contrast to what we see from Apollo's wife and from Adrian as well.
Yeah, they're wearing like purples, like mauves, reds, and stuff like that. And the only thing that they're not even wearing that much red because the thing that they want to stand out more is the Russian red. You know what I mean? So even that, like, it's not like they have when Adrian shows up, she's not wearing like a red coat or, you know, boots or whatever, because everything that's red when they go to Russia is like the Russian red. You know, Rocky wears a little bit of red in the United States, but then the only red he's wearing is in the
like that right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's just, I think that's it. Like clearly everything was really thought out.
Yeah, and I mean, like I saw like in the last 2 weeks I saw like Napoleon and the new Hunger Games, and those are movies with like big costuming budgets, big costuming choices, but done in a way where it's like one is trying to be as adherent to being period accurate as possible. And so you don't get a ton of character development in the costume because this dude's always in his military uniform for the most part. And then all of the extras that surround him will mostly all be in military garb as well. So it's like it's a big undertaking. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes passion, it takes thoughtfulness to like line all of that up. But there isn't as much room for like some of the side characters, like his wife and her attire. It's like they want it to be period specific, but the difference between being high end for that time versus being like the bottom rung, we don't really get to see because there isn't a whole lot of like scaling of, oh, here's like the upper class, here's the middle class, here's the lower class kind of thing. Whereas a movie like The Hunger Games is very specific about that, where it's like if you're in the bottom, you all kind of wear like gray potato sacks. And then if you are in the capital, you get to wear something fancy. But the one smart choice they made, at least with the two main characters, was they gave the girl from District 12 like a colorful, atypical outfit and made that a point of emphasis. And they made Snow, who's the lead character, sort of be wearing hand-me-down clothes from his father. So they're stylish, but they're not his. But it kind of like points to him wanting to be this thing that he isn't. So it's just like different elements of handling it. And a lot of the costumes that were made for Hunger Games are like designs that we don't see in real life, where at least with Napoleon, it's period specific. So it's trying to be accurate. With Rocky, it's like this is stuff that we're taking off the shelf and putting on him for the most part, or off the rack. It's not stuff where, oh, let's build this thing from the ground up.
Exactly. And that meets its own kind of challenge, you know? And like, I'm glad you brought up Saltburn, because we were talking about, I was saying, oh, it's a period piece, remember? And a lot of people don't think of things that are that new as period pieces, but they are, because they're not now, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's very specific to set it in 2006.
Yeah, but it is a period piece, and so it's really a challenge because a lot of that stuff might be even right like around right now, and you can find a lot of those looks. They stand out because you're like, oh yeah, I went through that or experienced that, but it's still something that you could find, right? And kind of put together. So, but everybody has their own kind of style, like their feel, like his friend, he was like the way they dressed him, like he was, like not as, I guess, not as laid back and relaxed looking. He was more buttoned down kind of guy, right? The guy that he meets, that he's friends with first when he gets there. And
the other nerd.
Yeah. And then, Jacob Elordi's character is more like he's cool, but he's laid back, but he's rich. So he's probably wearing items that are designer
his
items, even though
$300.
Exactly, even though it's just a t-shirt, right? It's like a $95 t-shirt.
Well, I guess he got his money's worth because it looked good on screen. So
yeah, and so it's really that I think that's I don't know. I just love that stuff. I love it. It's so cool.
It's an important element of visual storytelling. So I got no problem talking about fashion on here. It's not my like strongest suit, but
it has so much symbolism, it can have so much symbolism.
Yeah, I put probably way too much thought into like my wedding outfit, and I was like, no, I'm gonna wear pink. This is happening.
Put thought into it. I love that.
Yeah, I have like we looked and we laid it out, and it's like, okay, pink goes with this, maybe not with this. Here's the look that I had in mind with the black tie with the pink, which looks good. I ended up going with a different tie though, which is a little bit more flamboyant.
I like that.
It's like paisley pink and black.
Yeah.
So it's nice. I need to see what it looks like when everything is all like laid out together. But yeah, I put like probably way too much time and effort into the suit where I could have just been like, let me go rent the suit for $100 at Men's Warehouse, do black and just traditional.
I always encourage people to get what they wouldn't be able to wear any other day and really go for it. And even if and have it, as this thing. It's a really important day, and I think you should throw stuff at it if you have the means, because I've seen people
break the bank. We're okay.
I've seen people like cut corners and then regret it. If it like or just like not say that it doesn't matter, and then they're like, oh, I kind of wish I had this, or I wish I looked back on this, and I've actually seen that.
That's good.
Like, so yeah, if you have the means, throw something at it. I always like, I've talked to brides where they're like, should I wear a veil? It seems ridiculous to wear a veil. And then I'm like, what other day?
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, if you want to, not if you don't want to wear a veil, then that's up to you. But if you have a desire to wear a veil, what other day are you going to wear a veil? Just do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you don't want to, that's one thing. But if you want to, why are you gonna hold up? Why of all days are you gonna be like, maybe I'm gonna hold up? You can always just take it off.
Yeah, exactly.
And so just freaking wear it.
Well, I'm going for it. So
good.
Fingers
crossed. I can't wait to
crossed.
see pictures. I can't wait to see.
Fingers crossed. I know. We're getting close.
Soon.
So soon.
Oh, it's gonna come up real fast now.
It feels like it was taking forever to get here, and now that it's like we're inside the final month, it was like it went from a month to less than 2 weeks really fast.
Yeah, and it's in a runaway train now. I'm excited for you.
It was just a lot of like waiting for emails that was like killing time, and it's like, well, we can't move forward until we hear from this person. So
yeah. I'm so excited for you. You're gonna have the best time.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. But I know we talked about.
Sorry, you got sidetracked.
That's okay. I know we talked about giving or shouting out your program, and you had mentioned the gentleman who does your trailers and where we can find that stuff. But I want to give you the opportunity now to remind everybody, like, when is the Rocky showing happening?
Okay, so Rocky 4, I'm screening at Revue Cinema in Toronto on December 13th. It's at 8:30. Often it's a Wednesday. often my screenings are on Thursday at 7, so just keep in mind that it's on a Wednesday and it's a later show because we have a band. Dragon Sounds will be playing a short set there. Also, if you want to put some of your Christmas money aside, we're gonna have a t-shirt, and there's a possibility it might be kind of festive and something that you might want to wear throughout the holiday season, or maybe you want to buy a gift for somebody, so keep that in mind. But more importantly, buy your ticket first and show up, because it's going to be an awesome time.
For the Rocky fan in your life, make sure you buy custom Rocky t-shirt. They've got Rocky posters.
Rock your poster.
Make sure you don't forget your ticket, because live music, Rocky 4, swag, got it all.
Yeah, it's going to be the best.
It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for you to have that experience. It's going to be a blast.
Thanks. Yeah, everybody, you're going to see the sweat splashing on a big screen. Incredible.
Oh, you're going to have people in the audience with Mr. Spray bottles just anytime they're like, oh, what is happening?
Imagine it in 4D, like
right, 4DX. Oh my God, we would all be leaving the theater with horrible contusions.
That's funny.
Well, Vanya, it has been a pleasure as always.
I can't wait to come back. Just let me know.
That's right. Well, I'm gonna take some time off for, of course, the wedding and the honeymoon, and just, to have some time off in general. And then I've got, I think, one more episode that I'll do at the end of the year, because I told Scott we would do a Christmas special episode on mixed nuts.
Oh,
so
right.
We'll do that. And then, we're going to head into 2024. Oh, my goodness. 2024, we're going in hot, guns blazing. I got some people lined up already. And then just whatever you got next, whatever. You gonna stray from the 80s, or we're going to come back to the 80s, talk 80s fashion?
Oh, man. I have to think about this.
Yeah, you don't have to decide right now.
Maybe there's some, maybe get into the 90s, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
All right.
I'll think about it. It'll be a while, but
no problem.
I've done some podcasts this fall.
You have.
So yeah, I've been talking a lot. People have been listening to me talk a lot about movies.
That's good. You're passionate about it, and I think that translates pretty well through the speakers or the headphones or whatever you're using. So
thank you. But I always have a good time talking to you about movies. And I can't wait to be back. I'll think about, what's happening. Maybe we'll stay in the decade. Who knows? Maybe this is our decade.
Maybe it is. It's not like there's any shortage of 80s movies to talk about either.
Yeah.
It seems to be a sweet spot for this show. So it's like 80s and 90s specific, but hey,
yeah,
it is what it is.
You never know.
That's fine. You go where the fruit is plentiful.
Yeah, that's true. Excited.
Cool. Well, thank you. Please enjoy the rest of your evening at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, everybody. This is a Christmas movie, so keep that in your hearts. It's the remaining of Christmas.
When someone asks you what your favorite Christmas movie is, say Rocky 4 and watch them be flabbergasted, and then watch it with them, and then you'd be like, see, he wished his son Merry Christmas. There's a tree in the corner over there. It's a Christmas movie. It counts. They're fighting on December 25th. That counts.
Yeah, it comes up multiple times,
It does. It counts.
Yeah, it counts.
All right, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
My many thanks to Vanya for hanging out again and talking about a movie that I love so much from childhood that I had to send her a picture from when I was 10 years old of me wearing a Rocky 20th anniversary sweater. If you're in the Toronto area, I would highly recommend checking out that Rocky 4 screening at Revue Cinema and checking out Paid in Sweat across all your socials. You can find Vanya at Nostagliaphile on X, and I put up all of her links in the show notes. And of course, thank you to everyone who took the time to listen to this episode. I know you have a lot of choices when it comes to podcasts, and I appreciate you spending your time with us. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you do, please consider leaving a rating and telling a friend about it. And the new support page is live at ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/badmovieswelove.
I'd love to hear from you. So if you have a bad movie you love and or maybe would like to be a guest on the show, you can contact me now at badmovieswelove@theshice.com or badmovieswelove on Twitter and Instagram, and that's love with an LUV. And as always, take care, be well, stay safe, and have fun however you get your movies.